I ordered the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II. So with that being an L mount, I actually was coming from this Canon SL2, which I've had for 6-7 years now. This is kind of what I started out with on YouTube actually. I had actually a couple full frame lenses I was using with this ASPC crop sensor camera because, like I said, I was a beginner. And so I have this kit lens and I had another lens that were like EFS lenses, but I actually had two other lenses that were EF full frame lenses that from Canon I wanted to be able to try to use on my Panasonic because it's gonna save you money, and if you already got that glass and you don't have to go ahead and buy that from another brand, obviously that can definitely help out. So this is a Canon, this is a 55 to 200 millimeter lens. I have another 70 to 300 millimeter lens. By no means are these brand new lenses or very current, but these are, you know, nice, good EF lenses. They function well for me on my SL2. I just used them in Hawaii on vacation. Like I was thinking, if I got the kit lens on the S5 II, and then I got a 50 millimeter prime lens, actually, that was only 50 bucks more on that bundle right now on Amazon. So I'll put that link down there if you are looking at that camera. But for 50 bucks more, I got another prime lens. So then I was thinking, well, if I get that adapter, then I've got two other lenses I can use with this camera. I'm pretty much covering the spectrum. So I got this Sigma MC-21 adapter here. So this is what everybody recommended. There is another, like a Viltrox one. There are some other cheaper ones as well. The problem is some of those ones are manual, so you got to be careful because it's for manual focus only. It does not support autofocus. With this Sigma converter and with that Viltrox one, which I think is like maybe 50 bucks less, these both are supposed to support autofocus. And I actually saw a YouTube video where someone said that using this MC-21, that the autofocus on the Canon lenses worked perfectly with the Panasonic camera. So that's actually why I went with this one. This is basically the top of the line for the converter. So this is a EF glass to the L mount converter. So this allows me to use those EF Canon lenses with the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II, which has that L mount. So unfortunately I had a different issue with my Panasonic Lumix S5 II where I was getting some noise and like some low light shots and stuff like that. So I have to return it for that reason, and I'm getting a replacement. But while I had that, you know, I didn't have any issues with the video. So I tested out the focus with these lenses. I went back to my SL2 when I was taking some shots on these with those lenses. Even these EFS lenses, I just wanted to see, they actually would work with that adapter and the S5 Mark II, but it just cropped in for me automatically into that ASPC crop. The focus and everything was pretty decent. Using my EF lenses, I had two longer lenses, so I tested them at a little bit more distance. Like I said, the 55 to 200, the 70 to 300. They were interesting because what I noticed was the 70 to 300 bigger Canon lens, it had a very hard time focusing before I started the video, but then once I actually did hit the video, it actually locked on and it did keep with my wife's face a little bit. I may have some footage here I'll show you, but unfortunately, I don't have a ton for the reasons I mentioned, but it was okay, I guess. And like I said, I couldn't lock on before, so it's kind of hard because framing the shot, you know, her face started blurry. Then once I actually hit record on the Lumix, then it actually grabbed her face and it did a pretty decent job of holding while she was walking at me and stuff like that. For photos, however, with that 70 to 300, for example, I could not get it to focus. She was basically just staying a blur, and the Lumix camera with the MC-21 adapter, it was allowing me to just take photos with her blurred. You know, usually when it's blurred out, sometimes it won't even let you take it because it's not focused. But yeah, I could not get photos and photo autofocus to really work with that lens. So it was not an easy process like I've heard other people say. I think what that might amount to is if you've got some maybe newer Canon lenses, maybe those ones are the ones that are working better, or it truly is maybe just a case-by-case basis. I put those lenses back onto here, and I tested them in the same exact testing area in our hallway, the same lenses and everything. The minute I put those EF lenses back onto this Canon SL2, which is from what, 2015, 2016, I mean, it's an older camera now, it worked flawlessly back on this camera. So the performance, I can say without a doubt, was not in the same ballpark using that MC-21 adapter with my older Canon EF lenses going over to that S5 II. So unfortunately for me, that did not work. It looks like I'm not really going to be able to save some of my Canon glass. and use it with this MC-21 adapter here with my Lumix S5ii. So it's up to you if you want to try. It depends, I think. Like I said, maybe if you have some different lenses, or maybe if your lenses are a little newer. I think I looked up the serial number on my 70-300 EF lens from Canon, and it looks like it was maybe from like 2014. So it is a little bit older, so maybe that was part of the reason why. Otherwise, I was really happy with the S5 Mark II. I think it's a great camera. I think for a full frame camera, it's probably the best budget-minded camera that you can get, with having full frame and a lot of the features, open gate. I've watched a lot of tests where it's doing way better in ISO and stabilization than comparative Sony and Canon cameras like the R6 Mark II. So I am gonna be getting that. Like I said, I had a little issue though with my S5 Mark II for whatever reason, where it was getting a lot of color noise in these low light photos. I didn't see anyone else having those issues though, and checking on Reddit and stuff, everyone was like, yeah, you should probably just get a replacement. So I'm getting a replacement of that, but I will put this adapter in the description if you want to check this out. This is the Sigma MC-21. And like I said, I'll put the Lumix S5 Mark II down there as well. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna be doing some other content around that Panasonic Lumix S5ii. So if you are looking at this camera, I still do think this is probably the best option you can get out there today. And I'm gonna be making some other content around it. So please subscribe, like this video if you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next one.